It's a joy to have you here. I'm Andrea. In this Reiki 101 series, we're helping to demystify Reiki and answer some common questions. In this sixth video, we're taking a deeper look into the style of Reiki that I practice and teach, called usui, Holy Fire Reiki. In our last video, I described more broadly why we have different Reiki styles and what lineages are. Holy Fire Reiki was not the first style that I learned and taught. It's a relatively new style, which was developed beginning in 2014. Reiki Master Teacher, founder, and president of the International Center for Reiki Training, William Rand, is responsible for bringing Holy Fire to the world of Reiki. He actually was not looking to develop a new style of Reiki, but through his own spiritual development, he received very clear guidance about changes that he could make that would greatly benefit his students and everyone who received this new energy. Following this guidance, William implemented the changes into his classes and received extremely positive feedback, not only from new students, but from experienced Reiki people with many years of experience giving sessions and also teaching. Those who learned Holy Fire Reiki reported improved results in their sessions and more powerful attunements. However, because Holy Fire Reiki has a completely different method of carrying out the attunement for students, we now call the attunements placements, and at the master level, we call them ignitions. I explained what attunements are in an earlier video in this series, so if you'd like to know more about that, you can tune into that video in the Reiki 101 playlist. Next, I'll describe the key difference that is central to Holy Fire Reiki, and then I'll share what convinced me to not only learn it, but also to teach it. So let's compare the traditional method of attunement with the placement method. It is important to note that both methods have the same purpose, which is to empower a person to access and channel spiritually guided life force energy, or Reiki. Most people are aware of the traditional attunement method that's part of every Reiki style that at least I'm aware of. This involves the Reiki Master Teacher channeling the energy through themselves and then to the student. And that means that the teacher and the student are very energetically involved with one another throughout the attunement process. But in Holy Fire Reiki, the teacher does not channel the energy at all, but instead keeps their energy completely separate from the student's energy the entire time. The Holy Fire Reiki Master simply creates the opportunity for the placement to take place without any guidance or energy from them. There are also no complicated steps that the Reiki Master Teacher needs to perform in order for the attunement to take place in Holy Fire Reiki as compared to the traditional methods. As you can see, this is a significant change, but I'd invite you to consider that you don't need any other person, and I don't care who they are, between you and the source of this energy. This is because you are completely worthy just as you are and need no middle person to do anything to your energy system to become a channel for Reiki energy. The source of Holy Fire Reiki energy meets with you directly, and why should it be any other way? This acknowledgement of our wholeness and the resulting placement method of attunement resonates so strongly with me because I've really always felt that way. This is why I love this style of Reiki. It honors every single person and their unique spiritual journey. I invite you to also consider that because the teacher's energy is not involved, there's no interference or chance of lowering the vibration of the attunement process. This ensures the student receives the highest possible outcome with the placement method. All right, it's time for Confessions of a Reiki Master. I wasn't always a fan of Holy Fire Reiki. I actually had a lot of judgment about it when I first heard about it. I was teaching and practicing usui Tibetan Reiki back then in 2014. The first thing that got my attention and my judgment was the name Holy Fire Reiki. Holy sounded religious, and I was not a fan. I thought William was at the very least confusing people with that name, or maybe changing Reiki somehow, and that was a real concern for me. Even though I was uncomfortable with the name, I was still curious about it. But at that point, I decided to wait and not take the class unless it was clear that I was going to do so for the right reasons. So I kept practicing and teaching as I'd been doing. Several months went by, and the thought of Holy Fire Reiki came into my mind. I was just sitting there and I just kind of wondered if it was for me or not. Then something really interesting started to happen. In my mind's eye, I saw this image of the earth as though I was in space looking back at her. At the same time, I had this feeling that Earth was in big trouble and we needed help here, big help, but things were not moving fast enough toward awakening, healing, and peace. It felt like we were in an emergency situation. And then I saw this beam of light that came over my shoulder, and I understood that light, that beam of energy, to be Holy Fire Reiki. And what happened was it beamed toward the earth, it reached the surface, and I'm not kidding, like the flower of life, sacred geometry, it lit up a matrix all around the planet. And in that moment, I understood that this energy was an answer that so many people had been hoping and praying for here on earth. And as I watched that matrix of light burst into brightness, I felt excited about the energy and the enormous potential for transformation and healing it could provide for us. And I knew I wanted to be a part of that. But my very next thought was to question why William Rand was the person to bring this through. And immediately I was given the answer. The key was William's long history in the world of Reiki and the network of students he already had in place around the world. So because the energy and this new style of Reiki was given to William, he could immediately begin to tell others about it, and they'd hear him. And then they could decide for themselves if it was for them to learn it, to practice it, and to teach it. After my experience and the message that came through, I signed up for my first Holy Fire Reiki class. Even though I was uneasy about the name and didn't know much about Holy Fire, I was able to set those issues to the side and move forward because the guidance that I had received was so clear. In the class, I learned that the name Holy wasn't religious at all, but instead was used to convey the meaning of the root word, meaning whole and complete. And that simple explanation helped me reframe my understanding. The energy that I experienced as a student in my Holy Fire Reiki classes had a different quality than the Reiki I'd previously used. And I've also heard this from countless others, my students and other practitioners. You know, it's really hard to describe, but it felt powerful and gentle at the same time. It also seems a bit finer, more complete, as indicated by the name. Okay, here's another confession for you. When the time came for me to teach my first Holy Fire Reiki class, I'm not going to lie, I was worried. I was worried that the placement may not work. I was always taught that we must take action and try really hard in order to create meaningful success. And maybe you kind of learned that along the way too. So I had a hard time believing that stepping aside during the placement, not doing any of those steps that I had been used to, and having no energetic involvement would actually work. It was scary, but I decided to simply trust Reiki, and to my delight and my huge relief, the students reported amazing experiences throughout the placement. And when we practiced together, the energy was unmistakable. The placements were completely effective. Another huge benefit of learning Holy Fire Reiki is related to teaching it. Many Reiki masters who do have the ability to teach the other styles of Reiki can feel intimidated by the detailed procedure of giving attunements and may be afraid that they'll mess it up. So they put off teaching or perhaps choose not to teach altogether because of that deep sense of responsibility. And I have to say, that's why I actually waited so long to teach the other style of Reiki as well. So I know all about this, really. Placements remove the complicated attunement steps, so many more Reiki masters feel confident and capable of teaching other people. And so if we have more teachers to teach, we have more students, more people can learn Reiki and utilize it. And you know, doesn't the world just need that? I realize that some people out there might judge Holy Fire Reiki's differences as departures from how Usui developed his system of Reiki. Personally, I can say that I followed my guidance in learning Holy Fire Reiki, and I absolutely love teaching it and hearing the feedback from my students, as well as other Holy Fire practitioners and teachers out there. I mentioned this in the last video, but I think we can all agree that people are not the same, and our problems of today are not the same as they were in Usui's time either. As we evolve and change, both personally and as a species. It makes sense that how we might engage and utilize spiritually guided life force energy could expand and evolve too. There are other concepts of Holy Fire Reiki that I resonate with, such as healing religious trauma, which it's very effective in doing, and revealing the authentic self. And that's just a couple of examples. They really align with things that I have known my whole life. So to find them in this style of Reiki, it meant a lot to me. And as I said earlier, I really resonate with the concepts of this style. It's very important that each of us follows our own guidance. And if you wish to learn Reiki, I hope you'll investigate the different styles and the different teachers and the different methods in which you might learn. Then simply choose based on your own guidance. That's all really any of us can do. What's right for me may not be right for you, and that's okay. I hope that we can give each other space and freedom to make these personal choices without being put down or judged, especially if we're Reiki people. Thank you for watching, and please put any questions that you'd like answered in the Reiki 101 series in the comments section under this video. Also, don't forget that the first Thursday of every month, I'm on live, and I offer a Reiki meditation and share experience, and then I stick around for about a half an hour of Ask Me Anything. So if you want, you can attend there and ask your questions, although, we can't get to all the questions there, but it's great to hear your questions in the live stream as well. I'm only making the videos for you, so your input is important. Our next video in this series is going to cover Reiki symbols, how to activate and use them. And I think that'll be a pretty popular topic, but I guess we'll find out. Anyway, thanks so much for being part of the channel, and I'll see you next time.